Welcome. We're back in the short rows. It's been a sabbatical for me, but I'm glad to be back and glad to be here with Wayne again. Wayne, welcome. We're both in the short rows, and it's glad to be back together.
Well, being in the short rows is better than being nowhere. I can tell you that.
I would agree. We're coming back together because we have just gone through a primary election season. We had a great time. I think you and I had a great time promoting just the election in general, getting information out to our fellow citizens, meeting candidates. You did a great job with interviewing many of those candidates for board. Clerk of court, I was able to take part in that too, and very thankful for you allowing me to do that. But it's been a great time. But now the election's over. Races have been decided. Board members have been selected. We have a new clerk of court. There is no challenger on the Democrat side, so that's been settled. I think we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about what happened, how things shake out. It's all interesting, looking at the numbers, looking at the precincts. So that's what we want to do tonight. Dive in, see what the data shows us about these races. The most interesting one, I think, or one of the most interesting ones, the school board election. So let's start there.
Well, the school board election was a heated contest, I guess you would say, because we had 4 open seats with 6 people vying for those positions. And we have multiple people running in the same districts. Lakewood had 2 people, Midway had 2 folks, so it's going to divide our vote up. And it got to be a little bit of playing risk with it. We had to, you had to play what precincts were going to vote for who.
Right.
And I think that did get very exciting, and I think you are correct. But I do think we got a great slate of candidates there, and we've got some very good people going on the board. Shame to see Kim Smidlin going off and Burley down south.
Right.
He seemed like a pretty good guy. A few times I met him, and they were sound members of the board, but people move on. So I'm with you. Let's move right on in. We've got a presentation. Let's see if we can get this new technology to work.
Let's do it.
Look at that. We are moving directly into the 20th century at breakneck speed. And so there we are. We've got the Sampson County School Board pulled up, and let's look at what we've got. We have the current school board, as it stands at the moment, is Jennifer Naylor and Darrell Warren. Kristen, as it stands, this will be how it is in July 1st.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I should say that correctly.
They're sworn in July, right?
Right, in July. And we have Jennifer Naylor, Darrell Warren, Krista McPhail, Michael Elmore, Eleanor Bradshaw, James Jones, and Glenn Faison. So what we could do, Aaron, is to jump right into those numbers, if you could see that.
Yeah. So looking at these numbers, I think let's talk numbers. Okay. Are we as far as voter turnout, overall voter turnout, are we higher than normal? Are we lower? Where are we?
I think we're a little bit higher than what we traditionally are in an off-season election. No president, no governor. Mm-hmm. So the results are usually less. There's not a lot of excitement. I think that this race brought out most of the excitement. We can see the numbers are really high on like Darrell Warren, and we've got to realize we're adding all because they could only vote for one.
Right.
So all these votes compiled together are pretty impressive. I think we had, let me check my notes, we had a 24.87% turnout.
Got it.
We had 9,573 voters show up out of 38,488 with all of our precincts reporting. So that was a pretty good number.
Okay.
For Sampson County. So, yes, I think that was a good one.
There were, like you mentioned, a lot of excitement. There were people that were fired up to vote in this school board election for sure, and the numbers reflect that. So let's dive in there to the numbers and look at the individual candidates and their vote tallies. Mm-hmm. Darrell Warren, sitting chairman, am I right? Was he the chair?
I believe that's correct.
He was at one point, maybe not. I don't want to speak out of turn here. 1,413.
Right.
Going back on, Michael Elmore, new candidate, right? First time ever running for the board.
Yes.
Just behind him,
Yes.
1345 or 1,345 votes. Kristen McPhail, first time candidate, 1,287 votes total. Then we have James Jones at 990, Sonia Powell at 885, and Mikasa Melvin at 861.
Mm-hmm.
Close. Those top three are close.
Very close. I mean, there's not a lot of separation between 1 and 6. Not at all. And if we go into Darrell, we have the graphic there. We can see that he pulled down 127 votes in Keener. He got 169 in Newton Grove on day of voting. He got 100 votes in Westbrook. He got 302 votes in the early voting in Newton Grove. That's where his bread and butter was there. It was the early voting. He got them out. Now, 127, 169, 100 in Westbrook, those are all pretty approachable numbers because Keener and Westbrook are smaller populations.
Mm-hmm.
Newton Grove, of course, has a town there, and that so it's a little larger, so they probably picked up more in that early voting.
And with the convenience, too.
Yeah, very much. He got 276 votes in Clinton.
Yeah.
So that was pretty good.
The Hopton folk turned out.
It did.
For Darrell Warren, and was expected. He's done a great job, from what I understand, on the board. With kids, I have kids at the elementary and middle school, and Mr. Warren has been approachable. I think one of the first time I actually met him though was at Mingo Grange, an event that was held there. He was in attendance. It was not a candidate forum; it was kind of a meet and greet scenario that the Grange did several years ago.
Right.
And approachable. Was willing to listen to the concerns that I had about curriculum, and I'm understanding that has carried over. So excellent job for Mr. Warren.
I think so. I've met Darrell a couple of times. I don't know if he would remember me or not, but I mean, he's been very easy to talk to. And so now we've got Michael Elmore, and he hails from the Lee's Chapel community over in Plainview. We could get that specific with it. We know where it is.
That is the heart, right? Downtown.
That is
Plainview.
downtown Plainview.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
That Lee's
Yes, sir.
Chapel pretty much anchors it there.
Yes, sir.
And wow, it turned out for him, didn't they? Look at that, 377 in Plainview.
They did. But Mingo was no slouch. We had 205 votes in the precinct for him, 53 in Clement, but they were voting for Kristen.
They were. Yes.
That's her home ground, and so you should expect a few votes over there, but not an overwhelming majority. We could see that he got 226 votes in the Newton Grove early voting. That might have affected Mingo's numbers a little bit.
I would say so. It's the convenience aspect, I think, and it's not something I normally do. I like to go the day off. I like to go to the old precinct.
I do.
I like to go in the old building and talk to my neighbors. But the early voting stuff is convenient, and I would say yes. I believe you're right. We probably saw a little bleed from Mingo just due to the early voting being so close by in Newton Grove.
Right, and for him to come in second place in his first election like that. I think that was tremendous. I've known Michael a long time, and the interview we had with him, he's more focused on physical things, safety, security, buildings, and such as that. But we need that as well because we're getting ready to go into a building phase with the new Hopton School.
Most definitely, and he really had a head of steam going into this thing. A lot of excitement. A lot of people know Michael, as evidenced by the vote tallies, as evidenced by the signs in the yards. A candidate a lot of folks were excited about. So
Right, I think so. So next we pull up Kristen's file, and there she had 158 votes in Clement. And so that shows that Clement rolled out for her. They did very well over there. But she still picked up 160 votes in Mingo.
yes,
So had we got those votes for Michael over there, it would have been a clean. He would have taken Darrell's number one slot.
yeah,
Very
it's
easily.
very, very easily.
Very easily. She even pulled down 95 in Plainview, downtown. So
277 votes there in Clinton. Excuse me, at the early voting. One of the things that struck me about her candidacy is just how countywide it's been.
yeah.
Her roots being down in Harrell's, that area. She's really a truly countywide candidate, it seems, which I think will bode well for her future if she continues in local politics.
I believe you're right.
Also, we don't have it on here, but 94 votes in Autryville.
Yes,
Yeah.
Ultraville.
So this is so she did very well. A lot of excitement from her. I noticed a lot of a lot of the Clement folk posting on Facebook, supporting her, and they turned out for her.
You know, the sad thing is the votes in Ultraville and Clement look very small. The population in both those areas are growing rapidly. But it seems like it's still our old school voters out there that are voting. You guys aren't quite acclimated. They're not been brought in yet.
Right.
And that's a shame because Clement and Ultraville are really, they used to be really dynamic communities, but they seem to have lost their center somewhere. I don't know. We've got to find a way to touch back with those guys.
I agree. I think a revitalization is due for both of those communities for sure.
The most impressive thing I found with McPhail's run was that she only spent $1,000.
Wow.
Only $1,000. She did not even have to file with the Board of Elections because she was going to go below the limit. So hers was strictly word of mouth, internet, a handful of posters, and that was it.
I would say then that you could probably define grassroots
Yeah.
by Kristen
Yeah.
McPhail, right? I mean, that was a grassroots campaign, very little money and very little advertising, quintessential grassroots.
Well, in another race, in another episode, we'll talk about more money. But this one, that was very impressive to me, and that shows that you can win without a lot of money, and that's impressive to me. It gives me hope for things. You know, all these other races we see where people running for the Senate are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to go to Raleigh.
Yeah.
I wouldn't spend 50 to go to Raleigh. But anyway, that's that story.
I'm with you.
The next gentleman we had, he was on our podcast and at our forum, was James Jones from down in Union.
Former deputy or still a school resource officer.
Resource officer.
I really enjoyed his interview with you. James did he was really, I think he got on the cameraman from our forum because he didn't get to give his pitch. We didn't get who was the cameraman. But James, he got to give his pitch on the podcast, and he did a great job with laying out what he was concerned about. What I really enjoyed about his interview with you was his idea about like a pathway from school to work in criminal justice. Having these resource officers in the schools is not so much as a security thing. Well, of course that too, but also as an avenue for future employment. And I thought it was great. So he turned them out.
Despite the spat between him and the cameraman, I told James when I first met after the forum that night, I said, I didn't expect a whole lot out of you tonight for some reason. I said, but you really turned it on. And he became my one to watch, to be honest with you, because I had kept hearing stories about this guy from down in Union, James Jones, but when he came, he was prepared, he was ready, and I think he's going to be a great member of that board. I think he'll fit right in.
And I tell you, coming up here from down there.
Yes.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that, being able to do that. And him being willing to do that. But
Right.
yeah.
Right.
So how about those vote totals there?
Well, 96 in Harrell's Harrell's is a lot like Clement and Alderville these days. They're not quite as centered as they used to be. And the Democrat vote down there was not rolling out because there was really no Democratic opposition, so they had to come out just to vote for James.
Right.
And when you only are voting for one candidate, that makes your turnouts a little less because the excitement's not there. They didn't have a candidate for sheriff or clerk or anything like that to generate the boost. 73 votes in Ingold. I thought that was good. We don't talk about Ingold a lot.
We don't.
I love that part of the world, but it's they got 73 votes there. He got 311 in the Clinton early vote, which I thought was pretty good.
I do too.
Pretty good. 98 in the Herald early voting, so he got almost as much before as he did the day of. And he came in with 990, which 10 short of 1,000. I think that's pretty good for a first-time candidate.
I do too. I think what really struck me about him, and I think probably struck a lot of people about him, was his passion. He does have a passion for the kids and for supporting a safe learning environment that produces fruit. So,
Yeah.
great job.
think he did well. We have Miss Sonia Powell. She's an incumbent. She's already on the board. She ran this time, and her and Mikasa were down in Lakewood, and she did not attend our forum for whatever reason. I think she was at the elected officials thing they had in Roseboro that night. Mm-hmm. Anyhow, she pulled down 61 votes out of Harold's. That's a long way from Lakewood.
It is a very long way.
All right. 101 in Lakewood, which, going to be interested to see how she chalks up with Mikasa on that one. 316 in the Clinton early vote, 52 in Newton Grove, and 81 in Harold's. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So she was getting votes where she should have.
Right.
But she still came up just a tad short. Just what did I say? He had 990, and she's got 885. So
100 votes.
A little over 100 votes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's still a hair's breadth away.
Yeah. And she served for a long time, I think, Miss Powell, right?
She's been around a long time.
Yeah.
She's like Sandra Carroll.
Yeah.
She's been around a long time.
Well, we appreciate her service, and I know that
we do.
It was a hard-fought campaign for her, and but we have a new board, and we'll go forward with it.
Well, we talked about this out at the polling place that night. I was parking cars, and when things slowed down, we were talking. I think Kim Schmidlin and some of us were out there, and I said something. We were talking about G.H. Wilson, and G.H. and I were politically 180 degrees. We didn't agree on much of anything, but after G.H. got out of office, I got to the point that he and I would talk and we would communicate. We actually got back on good terms, and the thing with GH is, I said this to them, I believe that GH did what he thought was best in his mind. It might not have been what I thought, but GH was doing for his community, for his portion, what he thought he needed to do. And I think Miss Powell's doing that as well, and I can't argue with a person when they're doing that. And so I think she has done a great deal. Now, me and her may not agree on a lot of fine points, but on the broad topic, I think we all agree.
I think so.
And I think she's done a fine job.
Yeah, and she's ingrained in that community and has looked after those folks. And what more can you ask of a board member? So, well done, Ms. Powell. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mikasa Melvin, it was great meeting him. Yes. He did a great job at the forum. Your interview with him here on the podcast was great. He's also down in the Lakewood area, and you can look at the totals here. Total 861. You would expect him to kind of blow the top off there in Lakewood, and he did there. That's his highest total by far outside of early voting in Clinton. But he was a great candidate. I think I heard you say, I don't think we've seen the last of Mikasa Melvin.
No, I don't believe so. But, this is an instance where running two people in the same district did not work.
Yes.
It did not work. They cannibalized their own vote. Mm-hmm. We had seen that up here before in the past where we ran somebody from Midway District and somebody from Clement, and it was just a few votes short for both candidates. Here we're seeing the same thing. But I tell you, he got 40 votes in Altreville, which really impresses me.
I hadn't seen that.
40 votes in Altreville. So that impresses me a little bit.
Yeah, and that's outside of that jurisdiction, so to speak. I mean, he's got some saturation, and that's good.
Mm-hmm, he does. 147 votes in Lakewood. That was Miss Powell got 101 votes there, so he did well with that.
There was some excitement around him. I could tell. Yeah. I mean, you could tell there was some excitement around Mikasa, and will remain, I think.
I believe you are exactly right on that.
Yeah, he's a good guy, good candidate, and he'll be. I think, like I said, I don't think we've seen the last, which is a good thing.
Yeah, we're going to see more Mikasa. He's going to come back. He's going to be with us some more, and I hope Miss Powell certainly doesn't get out of things either. She's still. There's a lot of wisdom there.
Yeah.
There is. There's a lot of wisdom.
Well, you got to know. I mean, I think Jennifer. We've learned from Jennifer Honeycutt Naylor that the learning curve is quite steep, and you have to have those experienced hands there to kind of guide. Not good to to stay within the boundaries all the time, but you've got folks like Sandra Carroll that served for a long time, Miss Powell, and other folks that you can kind of lean on for that experience.
Right. Right. I believe you're exactly correct. And I think that Ms. Powell can still bring a lot to the table, be a great advisor and mentor, and can help in that community to help keep things moving along smoothly. Mikasa, of course, is working as an assistant and doing the programs with the families in the communities. I think that's a great thing, and he's going to be there to make that transition for those kids. I know sometimes we kind of poo-poo on that when we get these government programs going along, but the fact is, there's not the extended family that we had generations ago to help look after these kids, and they do need help.
They do, yeah.
It's not the same as it was.
Yeah, well, you just think, tomorrow, we're calling for, 75-mile-per-hour winds. Sampson County has just canceled school,
Yeah.
So, hey, that throws a kink or a wrench in everything for a lot of families. You've got to find care. And those networks of extended families not being there anymore in many cases, you've got to have somebody step in. And that has kind of been, it's good in a way, but what you have at that point is you have a standardization where you lose the flavor. In many cases, there's a one-size-fits-all. In many cases, when you have a higher level government entity step in to fix things, so to speak. But you got folks like Mikasa that are working, that are from the community, that know the community and know the people, and it's good, right, when you have those local folks administer. And so he's doing a great work.
I believe you're exactly right. And we always like to say as being a little more conservative that less government is better government. But sometimes, if we're spending all that tax money, I would rather see it spent here at home.
Yeah, me too.
I would rather see it spent here at home and on our people.
Well, we both do a lot of reading, and I've kind of gotten into a little bit of that Sam Francis. But one of the things that he mentioned was before his death was that the reason that we kind of have these programs and things is because we had to scale up, right, due to the influx of population.
Right.
You can't have Old Wrench School and Mingo School and Straw Pond School, all of them teaching different things. You have to have a standardization of education and a certain curriculum, because you've got to produce a citizen that will be able to fit in. It's bad to say, but that they got to be a cog in the machine, right? When you're scaling society up and you're fighting a war, things of that nature. So yes, we do kind of bemoan the more government, less local control aspect of things, but it happened for a reason. But whether or not it should continue, that's what we can debate.
And the whole point you're bringing up about Francis's work and being a cog in the wheel. Shouldn't we be teaching our culture? Shouldn't we be teaching our heritage? Shouldn't we be teaching our roots? And then when we go to war, we're kind of all on the same page.
Yes.
That's the thing we have kind of lost sight of. And to do different versions, Black History Month, Hispanic, everybody fits in. There's a way, yes, everybody fits in. Every story is important. But we've kind of got to get back to teaching that.
Yes,
we really do.
I think when we
really
it's a situation where sometimes you can go a little bit too far in one way and another is diminished, and that's bad for everybody. Yeah. Definitely.
But I believe as far as the school board, I think we're going to have a great slate. I think they're going to get off to a tremendous start. I think they're going to work well together. Midway, of course, is going to somewhat be the lead dog in the pack now, because Jennifer's from Midway, Kristen and Michael, so there will be three from the Midway district. And let's just hope and pray that they'll provide great leadership and they'll bring others along, and we'll make this thing happen.
I think that they will, and I'm glad to have been able to go through it, meet them, and play a small part, and maybe trying to get their platforms out to our fellow citizens. It's been fun. Wouldn't you say?
Yes. Besides Christmas, I believe election season is my favorite season of the year.
It's growing on me too.
But it will. It's like malaria. You'll get a fever sometime and just can't get enough, and then when it's over with, you'll lay it down for a while, and then all of a sudden it comes back.
Well, and just, we don't want to get too long, but just to close, there's nothing really like being out at the old precinct, right, on election day, hanging out with the poll workers and talking to the people and just doing the thing, right? It's our civic duty, but it's fun.
Yes.
It's fun. And so,
Yeah, what really got me this year is standing in line, and the guy in front of me, we got up to the counter to start the process, and I said, I believe you better check his ID. I don't think he's who he says he is. and here we go. And I have a ball doing that, but it's almost, it's a cultural event to say, it's a community event. We get to see people we haven't seen in a while.
exactly.
And I enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's keep that up. But today, this is our episode for the school board. I think that we're going to hear a lot more out of these people, and I think we're going to have them back on the show regularly. So all of them had said they're going to bring us updates, so the door is always open to them. Anytime they want to come on and speak about a matter, you don't have to worry about going to the Sampson Independent. You can just come here, and we'll be glad to work with you and put you on. But for right now, we're going to come back with another episode pretty soon about the sheriff's race, and we're going to have one more on the clerk's race. We want to dedicate each one. We don't want to pile them all together. So we'll get back to those. So, Aaron, it's been good to be here with you today on the Short Rows. And hopefully, folks, you guys will come back and tune back in as we do these other episodes. So stay safe tonight with this storm, and be careful, and God bless. And we'll see you next time.